bit more accurate, some people gloss over more of the inconvenient history. If you look at Japan, for example, they gloss some inconvenient truth about their state, and so on and so on. And usually when people learn that the history that they've been learning in school was rosy and propagandistic, people do not get disillusioned. That's not a true phenomenon.
Well, in America we do, because because I'll tell you why. Because in America we have to, unlike in Israel where your Israeliness makes you Jewish, we have to like lean into our identity in different ways. So some people do it by identifying with Israel. Some people do it by obsessing over anti-Semitism and the Holocaust. Some people do it by practicing religion or studying Torah, right? And so, but most people do it by just, because most of us are secular, we do it by engaging with our history and our culture, and Israel's part of that, and the Holocaust is part of that. And so when it becomes, when a state which is fallible and is not moral, it's inherently pragmatic, not moral. It has to decide between two immoral choices most of the time, and you enmesh that with your spiritual, religious identity, or even your cultural identity. It becomes very, very complicated, because the only way to be Jewish in America is to lean into these things and to enmesh it with your personal, value system, right?
I would suggest that your explanation has nothing to do with the true reasons for that phenomenon. That you describe something. Listen. I'll say my point, which is irrelevant to me living in America or not. The phenomenon of disillusionment with your propagandistic history is a phenomenon that has much more to do with your political leaning. Okay, if you're, for example,
Yellow's on the right, and she also is disillusioned.
Well, yeah. What are you disillusioned with? And by the way, it's. I'm not saying it's a right-left issue. It has like something to do with like some of the how you perceive your identity and what it hinges on. Not for everyone, the identity hinges on the accuracy and the truthfulness of the history.
I'm gonna do any yoga, cram that book, and I'll take you to my boat at the beach for dinner.
Okay.
But I would love to hear what are you disillusioned with?
I think she's on the camera.
Yeah, she's on.
And how deep is her identity crisis?
But I appreciate you dismissing my disillusionment, because you see me as
No, wait. I'm not dismissing. I'm saying it's completely valid, and it is due to like your political and moral kind of worldview.
Okay.
I'm not throwing shade at you.
So I don't know, there's a documentary, I don't know if you like documentaries, but there's one called Israelism that sort of captures this sort of American phenomenon of American Jews that are raised, they go to Zionist summer camp, and like the way people who don't practice Torah, who are not like halachic Jews, the only way to really like, being Jewish is really a choice, the alternative is assimilation. And so to engage with it, we do different things like go to summer camp and go to Hebrew school and obsess about the Holocaust and talk about Israel all the time. And so we learn this very sugar-coated narrative about Israel and how it reflects, they're a light unto the nations and they're the most moral army in the world and all these sort of like talking points. And then you get to college and you meet actual Palestinians and you find another side of the story. And so in our context, in our American context, we don't have the same existential threats that you have in Israel. And we also don't have this like inherent Jewishness that we need to engage with our Jewishness to be Jewish, right? You guys don't, because you have your Israel, by virtue of your Israeliness, you're just Jewish. And so we're in this like thing that we want to engage with it, but the way we've been taught to engage with it is to engage with the state where we find increasingly hard to defend, like its actions over the years.
And you think that nothing to do with politics?
Huh?
You think that what you described nothing to do with politics?
Sure, there's politics. All these things are interconnected. We can't separate anything out. Politics is involved, but people on the right and on Yaeli over here says, I don't want to speak for her, but she's more to the right of me. She's part of the Bibi Kapara crowd, pro-Israel crowd, and she also feels that the way she was learned about Israel and her temple was not accurate. So when she grew up and started to read history and learn about the Nakba, it was very, very shattering for her too, right? And so
I would love to hear it from her.
So she wants to, like me, thinks that if you want to maintain, if you want the next generation to feel close to participate in Jewish life and Jewish institutions, which is way more important than in Israel, by the way, because in America, if you don't, you're just not Jewish, you know? And so like there's nothing that attaches you to the ethnic identity if you don't participate in any of these like institutional structures. And so if you want people to continue doing that, you have to tell them the full story and not lie to them so they become like disillusioned with it, you know?
But the full story is also subject to your like lens through which you perceive the story. I can give you like one full example that kind of brought up.
Yeah. Never.
Maybe.
Oh, never mind. She's there.
I lost you, sorry. The full story is what?
As I'm saying, so I can give you like one example that kind of shapes, I think, your perception of this whole story. Like one kind of moral principle or rule that if you like difference in that view kind of shapes your narrative quite a bit. I think if you view like history and what happened through the lens of aggressor aggressed, okay, and you think that if someone aggressed against you and therefore like there have been some consequences of that aggression that have been negative to the aggressive side, right? In general, and you deem yourself to be the one that been aggressed.
I personally
and
right?
That kind of vindicates your history. So even if you have not been taught some details of how you defended yourself, like in a less kind of convenient, morally.
Are you saying that the novel was self-defense?
I have a friend who's trying to make this.
I'm saying
there were explanations for each of these massacres, right?
If it is your view, I'm doing a descriptive. Kind of explanation. I'm saying then, and I want to draw a difference. Then, if you think that even if you have been aggressed, for example, it doesn't doesn't excuse it. Then you have to, for example, then if you went and done something, for example, wrong, you are like the brain shifts to you. That would color differently your perception of the situation. And if you, in the first place, disagree with the fact that you have been aggressed. And you think that you have been the aggressor, that will further shape your perception. So for you, with your political leanings, I can like account like very easily for like why this whole situation was.
Nothing to do with my political leanings. I'm very informed, like you are. I grew up with this at our Shabbat table my whole life, right? This is a very, very important part of my cultural identity that I was raised with. So I'm familiar with the Zionist talking points, and I'm familiar with the existential threats that Israelis face. And I'm also familiar. I think for American Jews that are disillusioned, I think it's twofold. One is when you go to college, you learn about the Nakba, you hear a different version of the history. Just not that we were told those lies, but we were really told half the story. We weren't told about the massacres. We weren't told about all the stuff that's documented by the new historians in Israel, right? So we learn all this shit, and we're like, okay, that's not great, but at least it's in the past. Then we watch the mowing the lawn policy, which what we see is this outmatched two parties. One of them is dramatically, exponentially stronger than the other, and one of them is occupying the other and restricting, resources to the other, and restricting movement to the other. And every couple of years, they go in and just kill 2,000 people. Or like maybe sometimes a few Israelis die, but mostly it's just thousands of dead Palestinians. We see it all over our airwaves, and it becomes harder and harder to defend this policy, which seems brutal and unnecessary and disproportionate. And is breeding more and more like extremism on the other side. And so Jews find themselves in a situation where like, okay, we can live with the fact that bad shit happened in 1948. That was in the past. But then you see in the present these policies that are becoming increasingly hard to defend. And because Jewish identity in America has become so enmeshed with defending Israel and espouting these talking points, it puts us in a very uncomfortable position. And so so I think that is what creates this sort of cognitive dissonance, and a lot of people just want nothing to do with it, you know? And then when October 7 happens, those of us who said we want nothing to do with this and just don't talk to, let them fucking kill each other, we don't care, it's not our problem, now it's our problem because it's become like everybody's problem, you know? It's become a worldwide. I know it sounds callous to say this to an Israeli who actually like is dealing with trauma and you're dealing with actual war and existential needs, but like it has affected all of us and forced us. It's come to our doorstep whether we like it or not. And so those of us who were raised with Zionism, disillusioned by it, are like especially frustrated that now we have to answer for what we see as the crimes of the Israeli government.
A, I don't see why you have to answer for anything. B, again, like what you said, it's very deeply into my perception that everything you just said fits very much into your political worldview of how you assign blame, what do you see as justified, what do you see like as a necessary consequence of some action, and so on and so on. Like this is totally like in my.
Yeah, I just wanted to read some.
Some scripture he wants to read.
Yeah, these are just Bible flashcards. Feel free to cut me off when you think you've heard enough.
I never hear enough of you, man.
Just take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10 seconds. He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. My health may fail and my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God. Where your treasure is.
Amen.
Amen.
Sorry, go on. I thought you were done.
Come now, let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red as crimson, they shall be like wool. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Wait patiently for the Lord. Be brave and courageous. The steadfast love of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting on those who fear him. Just for you, a collection of 101 promises from Psalms to guide your path.
Where's that from? Inspire.
Yeah, those are just little Bible flashcards I have. Let me take a picture of them and I'll update my PTR. Got them at a Bible bookstore.
That's great. You want some other mystical wisdom literature that I can send you that I think you would like?
Sure.
Yeah. It's funny. There's this whole thing in theology where like the theologians are always arguing, but the mystics are always on the same page. It's this funny dynamic where like you take a Catholic monk and I like what is it, Sufi mystic, or like a Buddhist monk, and like they kind of are all aligned on the wisdom, right, but not on the application of the wisdom.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's kind of like this thing in like monastic circles where like, you know, Catholic monks and Buddhist monks, they have this like thing that they all agree on. They just don't agree on like how to apply it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you say that again for me?
Are you recording me?
No, I'm not trying to do it. So I was reading a text on my phone. I wasn't paying attention to you. Just trying to be honest.
Okay. Just making sure, because I know sometimes you like to record stuff.
Yo.
I am live streaming myself though, so technically you are being recorded, but not targeted.
That's all right.
Islamist. Thank you very much.
Okay, hold on. Can I respond to this real quick?
For an understanding Indian perspective.
Yeah.
I wanted-
Hold on.
I wanted some
sorry.
clarity on Buttercup's position.
Yeah,
if
Houdini,
that's
just
okay.
give me a second. Let me just respond to AJ
Sure,
here.
sure. Take your time.
So I don't know if you're, how well learned you are in history, but historically speaking, when Jews were being persecuted, they actually fled to the Islamic world. The Ottoman Empire. I mean, you can go to Jewish historians.
Spare us the sub stories.
No, I mean these aren't sob stories. This is just like
All right, can we
historical
stay on topic?
reality.
Can we stay on topic?
Yeah.
Houdini, say what you want to say. Houdini, speak.
Actually,
Yeah, sure. I, for one, as an American, I love my goddamn country. And, I'm not confused about what I am or who I am or this identity. I feel that there are people who are perhaps, lost about what side to choose. But if we're American and we're sticking to American values, then, there's certain things we do and don't support. It's just that simple. So, I, for one, am a Christian, and I feel that, the Middle East, those Arabs over there, they're not my people. Nonetheless, the response from the group, the Jew group,
Israelis?
yeah, it seems disproportionate.
Okay.
I'm just, as an
Thank you for
objective
sharing.
observer, it
Mhm.
seems, a bit.
You're not an objective observer. You're an outside
Ellie,
observer.
Ellie, let him finish. Let him. No, go, Ellie, we don't have to rebut
Yes, I'm
everybody,
sorry.
okay?
Yes.
He's just airing his grievances, okay?
Okay, I'll shut up.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not a confused American. I know what my identity is, and I'll be, frank. I think something, I'm not sure what it is, but I think something's up. Something's very fishy, and, it needs to be looked into.
And your point. So what's the fishiness?
Well,
What is the
What's fishy about it?
the foreign policy that we've been applying towards this, nation state, I'm not going to lie, I used to sleep on the notion of Israel and just how perhaps severe,
You think they're too influential in our politics, is what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely. That's the point that I was going to
Okay.
get to.
And that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad.
I think, absolutely a bad thing.
So when other countries do this, like Arab nations with like 10 times more money and influence, that is okay, or you have a problem with all countries? Or just
Daniel, with all due
Israel?
respect, are we engaging
Just
everyone who
small
says they have a limited, they've been following this conflict very
No,
minimally?
I know. I
and
am
have
not
a feeling.
attacking him. Asking him
Daniel, be
if the
quiet.
problem is generally speaking about like influence, or specifically about Israeli influence, because Israel is obviously not even in the top 10 influencers on foreign policy, or even
They're
by
very
state
influential in
taxes.
America.
What are you talking about?
Listen.
Not the first
AIPAC
one.
is
So I'm
very,
asking
very
if it's a-
powerful.
Again,
They've
not my
derailed
question.
so many races, even
Not
on
my
the local.
question. Not my question. My question is: this a general rule, or specifically just about APAC?
Especially Israel, no other foreign country has this type of influence on our local races.
So your rule is only on Israel, not the general
No,
rule
they
for
have
the
an
Americans
exception.
regarding.
They have a different type of influence on our domestic politics where foreign interests don't, because they have a different type of lobbying entity. They're registered differently.
All right.
What do you mean? Those are American
This is a,
Jews.
Houdini, I don't think you want to speak to this, but this is something we're pretty familiar with. That I can take this from here if you don't mind.
Yeah, you can do your thing, but don't it sounds like you're underestimating what is, what I know, and I'm pretty familiar. I'm just having a good time. I decided to come on the app and engage. This is a nice app. I like it. I can make connections and relationships and stuff, but
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
See, Houdini, Buttercup is a Jew, so she sees you as a goy. So like,
That's such a fuck off, Ellie.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I don't. I see our word is equal. I'm a
Listen,
humanist
But
atheist Jew.
more no.
She's like Chris Martin. She sees us as human being on Earth.
Even the Israelis.
Even
well,
Israelis.
listen. I'm looking at our
Speaking
foreign
of
policy.
the Israelis, hi Amos. How is the last called?
ריקודי העם. אורה, ההיא, אמהי, שירה,
Let's go sing for us. The last one, did I do the accent one?
Did you play the Hora? Can you tell us about the Hora, ההיא, אמהי, שירה?
Rikudei Am.
Rikudei Am, but I think he's still there.
ריקודי העם, ריקודי העם. ריקודי העם, Okay, that was a commercial break. Thank you, Amos.
Yeah, put him down.
Thank you, Amos. You're good. I'm gonna mute him for a second. Okay, is it better? All right, that's better. All right, what were we talking about?
The IQ of the
American APAC and
I was
influence on the American politics, and if it's only specifically about Israel, and you said yes, your problem is specifically with Israel, not with.
No,
foreign
APAC doesn't have
influence.
disproportionate influence. No other foreign country. They
Can you show
don't
me
represent. They represent
Okay,
American
can you show me-
Jews, so
can you
that's
show
why
me
they're
the
so
map?
influential.
Can you show me the metrics that you say that they have unproportional influence? Like,
I'm
you show
someone,
me?
Daniel. So I covered politics for many years and local races and state races across the country and federal races, and they have immense influence over. They throw money behind. These are American Jews. They're not Israeli. It's not an Israeli government. It's American Jews on behalf of Israel. So they register as a local domestic lobbyist instead of a foreign lobbyist.
and what about the ones that are working for the Ummah or for like other countries?
They have to register as foreign lobbyists. They don't have that
No, they
domestic
don't.
influence.
If they're Americans, they're not foreign by definition. So why do American Jews need to register as foreign agents? Like, why are you doing it to yourself? You don't feel like you're American,
It's like in Russia, they have to register as a foreign.
but they are not foreign.
Yeah, under FARA, if you are representing the interests of another nation,
They are not representing another nation.
Yes, APAC is representing the interests of Israel, which is another nation. It's not representing the interests of Jewish people. And the American Israeli Political Action Committee is not representing Israel.
Right, the American Israel there is what's being represented is the relationship between America and Israel as represented by American voters. It is not an arm of the Israeli government. There are exactly $0 that come to AIPAC from Israeli.
Well, actually, we don't know that. We don't know that.
That's bullshit.
It has no, it doesn't take any government money.
No, it's all traced. It's very, very well tracked at where all the money comes from. We get very strict laws for people who donate to those campaigns.
Let's make a pact. If we use the word Hasbara, we'll call you an anti-Semite, okay? Like, we'll start throwing anti-Semite around.
Yeah, of course. Why not? You know, it's
No, we try to avoid it in this room. Like, we kind of understand that, like,
Try to talk about issues.
you guys are like
detrimental.
you guys are like the black but on steroids.
All right, Houdini, you're spicy. I didn't know
No,
it.
I actually agree that the Jews in America and the blacks are very similar. And they're like whining and bitching and not looking in the mirror. I agree with you. But and this is why I'm saying, like, I don't want to throw around anti-Semite labels, so please don't come with your Hasbara labels.
Okay, so I want to read something for you guys. Guys, I'm going to read a little bit about AIPAC supports, okay? Guys, are you listening? The American-Israeli Republic, the AIPAC, which sharply boosted its lobbying last year in the midst of Israel's war with Hamas, and a corresponding surge in anti-Semitism, more than doubled its political action committee campaign spending as Americans elected a new president and decided whether Republicans or Democrats should control Congress. AIPAC and the AIPAC and its affiliated super PAC reportedly spent $95.1 million in